I'm very glad and very honored to be here at this conference, and thank you, Magda, for your introduction and for taking part of this extraordinary events taking place, signing this document. It's really inspiring in many ways. And there is diversity here among speakers and participants, which I think is very important if we want to find a common ground and move forward. And it reflects, I think, the widespread interest for this issue. Personally, I'm a school teacher and a part-time politician for the district committee of Västra Hisingen. Not easy to pronounce for you, I guess. And I'm representing, in this district committee, I'm representing the Left Party, which is part of like 6% of votes in the last national election. In Gothenburg, just to explain, it is a city of 500,000 residents. But certain welfare services, such as preschool, school, social work, and old age care as well, have been delegated to the 10 district committees in Gothenburg, with about 50,000 residents each. And before I start informing about this project, which I think you're very eager to know about, I want to give you a few notes about Sweden. It's a country with, now it's about 10 million residents, and historically, similar to countries like Denmark and Norway, we have had a high level of trade union affiliation, and today still 70% of the Swedish workforce are still members of trade unions, although the level differs between certain sectors and certain businesses. And that is why a lot of labor relations in Sweden and labor conditions are subject to collective bargaining rights and not labor laws. So the trade unions play a very special role in Swedish labor relations. And there are 3 trade union confederations, one for workers, which still has strong links to the Social Democratic Party, one for professional employees, and one for academics. And given the deindustrialization that also has taken place in Sweden, the last 2 confederations have been growing at the expense of the first one, like in many other countries as well, I guess. Our relatively wide-ranged welfare system has enabled women to start wage laboring, and significant changes were made in the 1970s. Although a lot of women, 30%, are still working part-time, also in Sweden. Programmatically, feminism has been integrated into the labor movement since the 1990s. However, a party called the Feminist Initiative also exists in Sweden, and even though it has no members of parliament, they are represented in the city councils in many cities, especially the large cities. And Gothenburg is one of them. So the city is now being ruled by a minority coalition of Social Democrats, Greens, the Left Party, and also Feminist Initiative. So now, the background for this project. Since women entered the labor market in a remarkable way in the 1970s. The fact that women are still working part-time to a much greater extent than men, that women use 75% of the parental leave days, that many working class women have really low pensions, have been subject to debates during these years. In many parts of the welfare sector, which in Sweden is often run by the municipalities and not the state, there have been troubling sick leave numbers. At the same time, the majority of the workers at home service for elders and elder care centers are part-timers, the majority. In Sweden, we have seen previous examples of workplaces trying to implement shorter working days. Since 2003, 37 car workers and car repairers at Toyota Center in Mölndal, right outside of Gothenburg, have been working 6 hours a day and 2 shifts a day. And that's since 2003. Results have shown that the work they do during these 6 hours are pretty much the same as they used to do during the previous 8-hour shifts. So they use the working time, the working hours more efficiently. At the same time, the staff feels better and sick leave has decreased. We have also seen some smaller private businesses, computer programming companies, for example, introducing shorter working days with good results, and that has been a way of attracting personnel for these companies in a business where it's difficult to find the right staff. But in the welfare sector, however, there are still no workplaces running permanently with 6-hour workdays. Actually, there was an example of running the home care for elders in Kiruna, a city in the very, very north of Sweden, between 1989 and 2005. By then, many significant politicians, as well back in 2005, by then many significant politicians, as well as trade union officials, considered this issue dead and buried, as I quote. There have been some other experiments in the welfare sector as well by the time it was stopped in 2005 in Kiruna. But in Gothenburg, when we launched this project, well, there have been some years without too much happening. But in Gothenburg in 2014, we considered this issue not dead and buried, but highly relevant. We also wanted to learn from previous mistakes. So this time, if we were about to make new experiments in the welfare sector, we wanted to evaluate this precisely and systematically. We made an agreement with the Social Democrats and the Greens that we should start this project with full retained salary for the staff at Svartedalen Elder Care Center, which you can see here at the photo, where 70 nurses were working. We wanted to evaluate whether the staff felt healthier, whether their own training improved or not, if the sick leave decreased, if the activities at the elder care center improved, and if the residents saw any improvement. We also had a reference object, an elder care center in Torslanda, a few kilometers away, which would not impose shorter working days at the same time, so we had something to compare with. A researcher from a private firm, Bengt Lorentzon, was recruited to make this evaluation. And of course, the staff here was not supposed to make the same service within fewer hours. Because staff running faster, talking faster to elders would not improve quality. That was why we also manned the workplace with more employees to compensate this situation. Even if we hoped that sick leave and substitute costs would decrease, we knew for sure from the beginning that this project would cost us money as the staff was paid full retained salary. The Liberals and Conservatives in Gothenburg attacked this project fiercely. And I think during the 1970s, the Liberals would not have reacted in such a furious way. They told us that we wouldn't find enough substitute staff to manage the workplace during the tryout. They actually made a press release where they stated that, I quote, 6-hour workdays destroys the old age care. And, well, there was no problem finding staff who wanted to be part of this. We also had dedicated unit managers and union representatives who found out a solution to order the schedules in a proper manner. And later on, we would prove our opponents wrong again. Which you can see by headlines like these, which are of course not correct and a bit confusing, but this was the way that international media portrayed Sweden. That's not bad after making this evaluation project at a workplace for 17 nurses. But I will come back to that. But a few months later, after this project was started up, healthcare managers, not politicians, but healthcare managers themselves decided that they should start 6 hours tryout at the orthopedic surgery in Mölndal, right outside of Gothenburg. At Svartedalen, it was possible to set up 3 shifts at the eldercare centers when working hours were shortened. For the elders, that meant that the staff would start the middle shift in the early afternoon, and they would have more time to make activities with the others. Having a chat, giving them extra time, taking a walk or taking them out to dance. The evaluation also showed that the sick leave level went down by I think it is I need to check it once again. But this line says 3.8%. I am quite sure that it's 4.6% or 4.7%. Well, regardless, it is significant. And at the same time, the level increased by 63% at the other old age care center, but also at the other centers in Gothenburg in general, it increased by 19%. So that was significant, and we were able to. This was exposed on a very early when they made the first report after 6 months. The staff at Svartedalen have felt that their health has improved. You can see that this is the level of physical activities, increased by 24%. At the reference, decreased by 41%. Satisfying level of stress increased by 105%, while it decreased at the reference object by 46%. And satisfying level of tiredness has increased by 51%. At the same time, just decreased by 67%. So, of course, there might be special circumstances if you look at the reference of it, but at the same time, these results are significant. And also, there have been an impact for the others as well. So the staff felt that their health has improved, that they have more power and energy when they come home. They feel less stress, and they state in interviews that they are more able to fulfill their duties at work. The physical activities, as I showed you, have increased by 24%, even though there are no significant physiological results noted, which has also been part of the study. The project at Svartedalen lasted for 23 months. It has gained great international media interest, as you can see. The issue has been put back on track in public debate, and especially in the trade union movement. I want to share a photo here with nurses from this Svartedalen Old Age Care Center, organized in the Municipality Workers Union, which is a very large union in Sweden. But also among scholars, and I can assure you that this has been a hot topic for a lot of people living in Gothenburg. And people who initially, as I mentioned, objected to this project have kept doing so, but at the same time they have launched other kinds of reforms related to welfare workers. And we have no reason to be bitter-minded. We welcome this. Especially we welcome this newly found interest for female eldercare workers among all political parties. But at the same time, we need to point out that the only successful way until now to reduce the sick leave at eldercare centres have been increased staffing or shorter working hours. We have shown that there is a successful, reasonable, and indeed realistic way to achieve or at least to approach a sustainable and prosperous working life. If you consider the costs for unemployment insurance, employing more nurses in the way that has been done means that the net costs are not 12 million krona, which we pay for salaries and other things, which would mean like 1.3 million euros. for 23 months. It's rather 6 million krona, or 700,000 euros, if you consider this fact. As I mentioned before, another trial was launched at the orthopedic surgery in Mölndal, and results have shown that sick leave decreased, that the care queues were reduced, and that the cost for hiring agency staff were lowered. And that's certainly important in a sector like surgery, where it's difficult to attract professional staff. And we have seen many examples since this project started, also at different places in Sweden. There is a project running right now at the social work office, also in Gothenburg, in another part of Gothenburg. And there are many other examples. So this is the way that we running this. So the woman to the right is a health politician in the very north of Sweden, at a hospital. They have also started a trial for 6 hours. So there are many initiatives running and planned. And the Left Party, which I represent, wants a national initiative to introduce 6-hour working days at one workplace, not just for trials, running, at one workplace in every municipality and every healthcare region. And in the long run, we want to reduce the working week regulated in law to 30 hours. And given the results of the project and the fact that shorter working days are right now being introduced in lots of other places, I hope that, if I may quote the poet Melanie Chisholm, it's just the beginning, it's not the end, and things will never be the same again. Thank you.